Folks, hello. Welcome to So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Monday episode. We are going to do kind of a pop culture roundup, but it is also kind of the 1,000th episode of So Bad It's Good. I mean, that doesn't include the Patreon episodes and things like that, but this is the 1,000th episode. So usually we have a guest for these pop culture roundups, and I was kind of going back and forth about that and then kind of finally decided it's going to just be me and you today, if that's okay. And I know I do a lot of me and yous anyways with the recaps, which, by the way, go check out those OC and Salt Lake recaps from this past weekend. I thought those were really fun. But this show started like 4.5, 5 years ago, however long it's been. It started with just me and you. It started with just me in front of a microphone. Um, and we kind of just went from there. And there have been so many things that happened in this show and because of this show and because of you guys. To all the people that don't listen anymore, I hope you come back at some point. You won't hear this, but I hope you do. And for all those listening right now, thank you, man. This has been such the main piece of my life for this last period of time. It has given me purpose in so many ways. It has helped me process so many things, and you guys have been there through that, all of that with me. And I will never be able to say thank you enough for changing my life in so many positive ways. So I thought, yeah, let's celebrate. I don't really look back a lot. I'll talk about, the past and stuff, but I don't celebrate things in the sense that I'm not I know this sounds crazy. I'm not a look at me kind of person. But maybe today will be a little bit of look at me, and we'll talk about some big moments of the show or kind of different moments and phases that this show has gone through. And we'll do pop culture roundup, and we might have some surprise audio from my red carpet event that I did with Us Weekly and Pluto TV on Thursday night. So you might hear some familiar voices. And now I put some of the video up over the weekend on my Patreon. I'll probably put some of those clips over on Instagram at some point as well. I'm going to continue to add to the Patreon clips. It's been a little bit of a weekend. Remember, there are timestamps, folks. So if you want to skip to the pop culture roundup part of it, where I just start talking about things that aren't involving this show and me, feel free to skip to that, because I'll give you a what to watch this week. We'll go over some stories. I watched Potomac tonight. I wanted to talk a little bit about Roni because I finally watched the second episode. There are so many things happening. We'll talk about BravoCon being announced Saturday, which was really excited. It's going to be November of 2025. So, woo! If anybody out there has a hotel hookup, please reach out to So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey at gmail.com. I'm hoping to host a panel this time. I'm hoping to host the Men Against John Jansen panel. It's just an idea I had. So Bravo, if anybody's listening over there, please. I'm happy to audition for that slot. But yeah, the Men Against John Jansen. We could even open it up to men and women against John Jansen, but I don't want to overflood the panel. That's actually one of my next goals, is to host a panel at BravoCon one day. That's next on the vision board. I finally got to do a red carpet last week, and I learned so much from that experience that I'm kind of jonesing to try it again, because there were so many little things. There were things that I thought I did okay, and then there were some things that I thought, oh man, yeah, I think I talked about this maybe on Saturday, that I was like, oh, I made a mistake on this. I made a mistake on that. I wish I had brought somebody to run the camera for me instead of me holding it up with my hand and a mic in the other hand. But I mean, that's the kind of exciting part of this job, is that you never know what is going to get thrown at you. Each week has been different. I mean, since I started this show, there is it's prepared me for anything. Like, you can throw anything at me, and I might be scared and nervous and anxiety ridden, but it's something that one of the only things in my life that I feel like I'll step up to that challenge. Anyways, I didn't even get to ask, how rude. How are you guys? How was the weekend? Was it amazing? I hope it was great. I hope you got time to recharge. I hope you're ready to rock this week. Ready to rock this week, guys. Um, I'll tell you a little bit about my weekend. Man, it has been go, go, go this year, and this past week almost killed me. I had my dad and my nephew in town, which was amazing, but it was a lot on top of trying to do all of these interviews and Sirius XM and all of these things, which, by the way, you guys, I know some of you don't have Sirius, but if you do, this Thursday, I'm hosting the Jeff Lewis After Show with producer Michael Beck, who produces like Southern Charm, Southern Hospitality, but Vanderpump Villa, the new season with Stassi that's going to be out in a while. Um, but guess who's hosting right before me? Crystal Kung Minkoff and Sutton Strack. I say, right. I can't believe you made it to 1,000 episodes. I say. So that means I'll get to hang with Sutton a bit. Maybe I can get her on the show finally. I hope I don't sweat as hard as I did the first time I met her at BravoCon, which if you go back to that picture from years ago, you will see that my entire body, I've said that, just turned to sweat. I was so nervous because Sutton had meant so much to me at that point. And that's the thing about this show too, is that those are the two wolves inside of me. Is that somebody that loves these shows and these people very much in a very real way, but the other side of it is somebody that also realizes how ridiculous it all is, how silly it all is, how not only are the characters that we're talking about silly, but we are silly ourselves in the fact that we take these things so seriously. So those are the two wolves that exist inside of me, and probably inside some of you as well. Um, so, so that'll be happening on Thursday, which I'm already really excited for. But okay, so I did all of that. Got rid of my dad and my nephew went back Wednesday night, did a show, woke up, had to do another show, and then Thursday night was that red carpet thing, and then Friday had a very important doctor's appointment, which I did, and then um, my best friend Dusty since high school, even though he's a couple years older than me. We met in high school, and him and our friends Amanda and Rashan, the three of them, they're the same age and they were kind of celebrating birthdays. And so he asked me to come down to Arizona, where I grew up since high school. And so I took a Southwest flight Friday night, met up with them, um, went out to a couple of bars, which we went to. The first bar we went to, they didn't it was turned out it was a gay leather bar, and the big thing now in this bar is people were wearing pup masks, which are like dog masks, like puppies, and people were, like, setting up mats for pup play, and I was like, "Where" it's like, I don't go out a lot anymore, but this is extreme, and we kinda left that place pretty early and went to another place, and then being the responsible podcaster I am, I left and went back and finished the Real Housewives of Orange County, episode recap, but I didn't get to bed till like 3 or 4 because I was working. And then the next day or yesterday, Saturday, I grew up in Paradise Valley, Arizona. So we all hopped in the car, and this was kind of, I didn't know how this would go, but it turned out to be beautiful. Is that we went and we stopped at all of our old houses, the house that I grew up in with Bill and Becky Bailey and my sister, got to see that. I hadn't seen that house in decades. And, there's that thing, when you get to some place that you have so many memories with and you haven't seen it in a long time, something washes over you, this kind of remembering all of these, growing up, going to high school and living at this place and thinking about your family back then. And we went to all of their places as well. And then we went to our old high school. We went to Horizon High School in Paradise Valley, and it was Saturday, blazing hot, which, by the way, now that I go back to Arizona every time, I'm like, how the fuck did I do this? Because it is no offense to everybody out who lives in Arizona. It's genuinely miserable. And also, guys, don't tell my dad that I was out there because I was only there for like 36 hours. So I did not have time to go see my dad. But I just spent 6 days with my dad. So don't tell my dad if you see him that I was in town, because I knew I only had limited time, and like, Dusty had kind of stacked it with like thing after thing. But we went to our high school, blazing hot, and it was wild. Like, that's where I grew up doing theater. That was where I kind of fell in love with acting, was at Horizon High School. And we thought it would be all locked up, but we found a door that was open, and we went through and it was really eerie because the high school itself was completely empty. But we've managed to find doors to like get in the main building. We got in our theater auditorium, and it cracks me up going in there. I mean, I spent so much time. I revered that place. I loved it with everything I had. And to stand on that stage again, and look out into the audience, and I don't know if your high school was like this. It's like it's a 1,000-person theater auditorium. Like, most people that have that experience in high school, they'll never perform for that many people ever again in their lives, and we would sell that place out for, like, the musicals and theater, and it was just wild to look out there, and then we were in the backstage area, and then we walked to, like, all the classrooms, and it was just I mean, just it was just a flood of emotion and memories all day long, and it was this beautiful and Dusty, my best friend, he's just so amazing. He has such a great memory, first off, but he also kind of celebrates everything and really gives it proper reverence, and, there's a lot of joy, and it's great to have I don't know if you guys have people like that in your life that really remind you of where you come from and what it was all about, and he even went as so far as to, like, because he lives in Chicago with his husband, and he brought down our old theater programs and things that we had made throughout the years to kind of stroll us down memory lane even further. And it was just so crazy. And then we went out to the field where and there was like an actual football game during the day in like 100+ degree weather, these poor kids, and it was like halftime, and we were sitting on the bleachers because we had to get pictures everywhere. And they don't even like it was halftime. They don't even have the team on the field because it's too hot. So the coach is talking to them underneath the bleachers. And I got a little audio of it. I'm trying to, but the coach, yeah, the coach was literally like, "You finish the job out there. You will destroy that." Like, I mean, screaming so loud, so it made me feel like I was like, "Fuck, is this like the Kansas City Chiefs or something?" And then we walked down and we saw the team getting ready to go out. These they looked like kids, man. They were like they looked like barely 13 or 14 years old. I thought these were like these had the way this guy was yelling at them. I was like, they have to be big burly men. These like these little boys. I was like, this is insane. Um, so we went and just and then we went to, the old Paradise Valley Mall, which has been completely torn down, and that's I worked at a movie theater in the Paradise Valley Mall, and it's just so wild, and I'm still kind of processing all of those memories. And then we went out again last night. There was, like, an '80s night at some club, which was really fun to dance to '80s music, and then, I came back, this morning or, like, or, like, noon, and then get this, you guys, and I know this is probably boring for those, tuning into a pop culture show, but that's part of the 1,000th episode of all of this is that I've shared a lot of like different aspects of my life. So some of these people you might have heard of before, but my best friend out here and who I went to ASU with was this guy Nick, and I still, Nick, we text every week, but I'm at the airport at Harbor Airport, getting ready to board the Southwest flight. Fucking Nick walks in. Nick had been there that weekend as well, and I had no like, he didn't know I was there. We had both kinda kept it secret. He went to go to the ASU game on Friday. I guess they won some football game. Congrats, ASU. Go Sun Devils. And so he walked and then we were just able to, like, catch up. He has 2 kids now, and we text all the time, and but, we don't get to see each other in person nearly as much as we used to, and it was just this kind of beautiful I got to speak to him, we sat together in the whole flight, and it was just so nice. I don't know, I felt like that I don't know, I'm all over the place with, like, how I believe in God or the afterlife or what I feel about all of that stuff, but in moments like that, you kinda do believe in some sort of higher power because I thought this weekend, if anything, I think you've heard me sometimes this year. I've just had a lot of like doubts and fear and sadness. And it was so nice to be presented with like, this weekend with all of these old friends. And then, your buddy that you live in LA with, that you don't get to see all the time and getting set to sit next to him and catch up and shoot the shit. And he lost his dad about a year and a half ago before my mom passed. And, we always get to catch up about the insanity of all of that and it was really I don't know, it was just it was a nice weekend. I was exhausted though. I was dead on my feet. And this is gross. I feel like, Kyle Cook. I was, like, pounding sugar-free Red Bulls. And I gotta tell you, as you get older, that's not good for the old heart. Like, talk about having a panic attack at 3 in the morning after you've had too many sugar-free Red Bulls. So that was disgusting. But that was my Arizona weekend. But now I am back here with you. I would love at this point if anybody could step in and tell me what they did this weekend, but I don't think anybody's gonna say. So it's just me talking as usual. Um, when we started this show, all that, 1,000 episodes ago, It's been a really interesting process, and just so you know, I've told this many times, was that I had done podcasting before this. It started out at my job at the acting studio where I did a podcast called Conversations. I worked at a place called Leslie Conning Company, an acting studio, and I would sit at my desk and I would listen to podcasts, but I would listen to podcasts like, Mark Maron, or I would listen to political podcasts, or I would listen to Howard Stern every day. I'd have one AirPod or earbud in while I was working to pass the time. But I had a deep love for people talking, and I grew up always revering radio, like just loved. I was one of those guys, nerds that would call into radio stations to try to be the 99th caller to win anything. And it was something that I've always deeply loved, the power of a voice coming out of the speakers. And as you know, I deal with like confidence issues and have throughout my entire life. So I never thought I could do a solo podcast. Now, there were a couple friends. I remember Hannah, Danny Pellegrino. There were a couple people I had asked advice of like, how do I do it by myself? Because I was used to hosting with somebody else or being a guest on a podcast. And they said, you know what, just put yourself on tape, you record a voice note for like 10 minutes and see if you can even fill 10 minutes. And I never thought I could, which is hysterical now because you guys know me. I do like 4 or 5 hour shows, seemingly on a daily basis. But guys, I truly didn't think that I could do it. And I think that first one, I was able to do that easily. And I sent it off to a couple of people, and they're like, "Yeah, it's okay. It's okay." And when you start a big thing or start some kind of journey in your life, the advice I always give to people that want to start a podcast or anything in life at this point is have no expectations. I didn't start this thinking that anybody would listen. I didn't start this thinking I would ever make money from it. I didn't start this. I just wanted to do something, and I wanted to talk about the deep love I have for pop culture and reality TV. That was it. Sometimes I'll see other people start things and you can already tell that they like want to be like they want to like, oh, I need people to like listen immediately and stuff. And you have to build that stuff over time. And I think people want immediate results in this age. And that just isn't the case. I've never found that to be the case. Or when it does, you usually have to be a celebrity, you usually have to be like a reality star, already somebody, and then your podcast can immediately take off. But if you're a relative nobody, which I was, that takes time. So you have to always allow yourself time. And I think that I did decently. And I'm still doing that. I still say, okay, we're still slowly building. We slowly build, we slowly build, we slowly build. And then you get little like kind of signs from the universe along the way saying, "Oh, this is working," or "How exciting," or "Oh, you fucked up over here, but you can do this better over there." Sometimes I treat this physical podcast better than I do my real life because you guys know I'm hard to get in touch with. It's it's hard for me to answer emails, DMs, texts. I'm not good in that sense. But this, I found that I was able to do it, or I was able to push past the uncomfortable zone that I live in to actually put this out on a daily basis, and that was so exciting to me. Now, through years, I always a huge thank you to Maritza Lopez. She was a friend before this show even started, and through this, I watched her graphic design get better and better and better and better, and she's always been an amazing soundboard. And she just started a podcast month and a half or a month ago called Love is Latino, which is a Love is Blind Mexico recap podcast. And I think she's going to continue on with other iterations of Love is Blind. I hope I'm allowed to say that. But I'm so excited to see her grow. And she's been with me through the beginning. She really has, you can tell the memes that are mine. It's the ones that'll like have the writing on the top and it'll have a picture. But she'll do like the really good kind of, I call them artist, it's artistry to me. She'll do those and she'll do the show images. And to me, the visual style of this show is something that I'm so proud of. And like I said, you guys remember there are timestamps, but I just wanted to talk about this and how far we've come and where we're potentially headed. So, to be able to work with her and then to have her on the Patreon and all of these things, it has been so I feel very blessed to have her on this team. And then Sandra Freier came along. Gosh, how long ago, Sandra? You're not here right now, but I have no concept of time. Was it 3+ years ago at this point? I remember, and Sandra fights me to this day. This poor Sandra has to try to get me to like answer things and I'm just so bad at it. And she must get so frustrated at times. And I think she knows at this point it's not a personal thing. But she came on once and was like, I think we can organize this better. And that's something that we still can do. We can organize all of this better. But I think that's why we're the little engine that could. It's like we're not perfect. Or I'm not perfect. They're perfect. I'm not perfect. And we're just working to get a little bit better each day, each year. But yeah, I remember that specifically. I was over at my sister's place in Arizona. Mom was still alive, and we were all there for something. And I stepped in to take a phone call from Sandra. I'm well, yeah, if you want to help, great. Please, that would be amazing. I always love any help. Um, so that's kind of like the team I talk with on a daily basis. And then, of course, we started with Cloud 10, and they had a deal with iHeartRadio. And so that was great when they took a chance on me and they started putting commercials on this show. And I was like, holy shit, you can make a little money out of this. And it was never insane money, but it was just like, I never expected it to begin with. So that was so cool, right? If you don't expect anything, everything is this kind of like, holy shit. And I'm not saying it's not, I don't deserve it. I'm not, because I work, I mean, the amount of hours that is put into this, it's probably minimum wage by the time you kind of all average it out. So I did that. And then recently, a little over a year ago, I moved to Betches Media. And they've been, it was so exciting to make that change. But at the same time, it happened literally at the same moment when Mom passed. So it's been this kind of pedal to the metal and wanting to try to do I want to try to do good by any company that works with me. And this last couple of weeks especially, they've been really killing it for me and have taken kind of a re-interest in things so bad it's good, which has been so nice. But Sammy Sage, that all happened because of Sammy, one of the founders of Betches. I got to talk to her on the podcast once, and we really hit it off. And I respect Sammy so much. That's the joy of all of this, folks. And I tell you all the time is that it's hard in my real life to have personal conversations because I don't go out of my way to talk to people. So it's that way to force yourself into talking to some of the most fascinating, funny people that you've ever met, or that like, so that's a part that I feel lucky. And then I get to talk to some of you guys, or even on the Patreon, getting to have other people on there talking about these shows. And it's like this mix. I call it a mashup. I always call the show a mashup, and because it's a mashup of everything. My personal life at times, you went through all my family shit with me. And then we'll do an interview with documentarians, reality stars. We'll do full recaps that are so silly and insane that you think I'm a mentally, challenged man. There are so many different things that this show tries to be. And I like that. I like that bouillabaisse. I like the casserole element of this. I feel so excited that I can legitimately do anything I want, even though it can be sometimes confusing and frustrating for the audience. And I realize that. But I think at some point we do land the plane, and there is something, whether you go away with a laugh, something that you've never known before in terms of pop culture, something that gets you really excited about something, and maybe just maybe you might feel emotions at time, sadness, anger towards me, frustration, just a silly laugh. I've gotten emails from people that they said they've experienced those things listening to the show, and I never know how to reply to those because they'll never know how much that means to me. But it's sometimes hard to take that in. But that's what we'll be doing the next 5 years of So Bad It's Good. The next 1,000 episodes of So Bad It's Good. Okay, folks, it's 30 minutes after I last paused this because I thought, hey, why don't you go and see if you can find that test episode that you sent out to people to see if you think you could do this by yourself. And I found it. I found it. I found it in an email from let's see, this email is from September 15th, 2019 at 12:53 p.m. I sent this out to people. And I was wrong. It was a 20-minute test episode. And I'm going to play you. This is like 10 minutes into it. I just listened to the first 10 minutes, and it's very interesting because there's a lot of things that I still say to this day, but you can tell there's even more nervousness there. But we just got to the point in the test episode where I said a major shout out to Jax Taylor. So let's pick up right there. This is the test episode. Nobody has ever heard this except for a handful of people. And this is me talking about Jax Taylor, September 15th, 2019, mere months before this show started.
Of course, he considers himself the lead of a little show called Vanderpump Rules that is extremely meaningful and important to me. I mean, it's scary important. Vanderpump Rules means everything to me. Now, they are not coming off a great season. They are already finished with this new season, and they have added, I think, about 5 to 6 new cast members. So it's going to be interesting to see how they break everybody in gently, but I'm all for it. I'm mainly for it because I love the fact that you can tell it puts the fear of God into Jax, because Jax thinks this is his show. He thinks he is like Matthew Perry, David Schwimmer, Matt LeBlanc all rolled into one. He thinks he is part of the cast of Friends, the reality show version, not realizing that he is a completely unlikable, unredeemable character. Even when he tried to do this redemption arc of, I want to be the best husband and blah, 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 it just comes off so fake to me. And I'm so sorry if you disagree. But anyways, what you guys are missing out if you don't have it already is that if you don't follow him on Twitter, you should, because he is one of the most erratic Twitter users that I've ever encountered in my life. He is hysterical, and he really will. He'll go from speaking something so godlike, maybe like a testament of the healing powers of the Lord, and then in the next breath, the next tweet, he will completely call a 16-year-old girl that she's ugly and fat. And then he will just block anybody in their power. Now, somehow, I do not know how, I have managed to escape the Jax block. Now, how do I escape the Jax block? How do you escape a block in general when... Now, just for you guys that don't know, there is a feature on Twitter, if you're not on it, that you can block a user from seeing your tweets, from, interacting with you, and he blocks everybody. Like, I mean, even people like that he just misinterprets, like they could be a fan of his and they say one wrong thing, Jax interprets. So the fact that I haven't been blocked is insane, because first off, I make fun of his tweets on... the SUP Facebook group online, Sexy Unique Podcast, hosted by Laura Marie Shane Halls, which I've been on a couple times and I truly enjoy. But I make fun of his tweets on that Facebook group all the time. But the greatest thing is that when I'm feeling goofy, which is a lot of times, I will go on and I'll read his tweets and I'll like some and I'll interact with some, but I have to be really careful because I don't want to be blocked. So I have to kind of blend a series of encouragements, like, if he does something like, I think he called some lady, like he told her like to mind your stupid business or something. And I jumped in with like, yeah, mind your fucking stupid business, lady, because I want him to believe that like I'm on his side. So you have to like kind of throw those things in there just so he feels an extreme amount of support from my trash account. And I guess I'm just saving up my block for something special. Like I want my block when it happens, and it will happen. I don't want it to be for something just simple. I don't want it to be like just something like, hey, I don't like your shirt, Jax, or like, where's your ring, Jax? I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be something where it like the floor drops out when Jax reads it, like, or if it's read to him. I want the floor to drop out, not just make fun of his poorly used grammar, poor spelling. I want it to be so much deeper than that. I want it to be a true sixth sense, I see ghosts, they've been dead all along kind of moment for Jax. And that's going to take time. So in the meantime, I don't want to just get blocked for something stupid. So it is of utmost importance that he does not block me. So if any of you, I will issue a warning to anybody that listens to this podcast. If you ever bust me out to him, we are going to have words, okay? Like, this is a family. This is a sacred circle. This is a safe space for all of us. So I want to be able to be as stupid as I want to be. And, like, I'm going to be very stupid on this. And I need to trust each and every one of you that you will not tell on me, okay? Like,
okay, that's enough of that. That was the test episode that nobody has heard except for a handful of people. And it just shows how little has changed over the years. I mean, there I was at a test episode talking about Jax Taylor, who we still talk about all of the time. Now, I will say through the years, I've gotten softer in some ways. I think life catches up to you and you go through your own tragedies and you have a lot more empathy and sympathy for people. and you still, I'll still get enraged and things, but yeah. And by the way, the block did come, and I saved it up. Well, the block came that next season of Vanderpump Rules, and it was around the time when he made fun of Ariana's sexuality and her mental health, and that's when I unleashed on Twitter, and I got the immediate block on the old Twitter. So that. Okay, a couple more things. I want to also point out this show started then, I think, in a month or so after that test recording, and would do like one episode a week, I think, maybe one or two, and then the pandemic happened. And the pandemic happened. It was crazy for all of us, and I started doing these one episode or two episodes a week, which were like an hour plus. And I started doing one gigantic episode a week. And those episodes would be 6 hours long. So you would have a bunch of guests throughout, like separate interviews. My parents would be on. We would do some comedy bits, and I put it all together like it was drive time radio. And so I would be editing, and my computer would crash on me all the time because I had a really shitty computer. And it would always be loading, and it would just crash, and I'd have to start all over from scratch. But it was the only thing that I've ever done that those things I wanted to get past. It never made me want to give up, never wanted to quit. Even when it was like the most frustrating, you're pulling out your hair, it was the only thing in life that I just kept going. I didn't quit on. And yeah, we did that. And then, the pandemic happened. And then eventually we went to a daily show. And when we went to a daily show, it was supposed to be like, so it'd be easier, doing a quick hour every day. And of course, we see that has not happened when we go to like 2.5 hour recaps and such. But it is what it is. So that is kind of the story of So Bad It's Good, with a couple of other little audio surprises. And we'll do one last surprise. And I think this is very fitting for who we were just talking about. This is Mr. Jax Taylor on the red carpet this past Thursday at the Us Weekly Pluto event, and one of my first red carpets I've ever been able to work of that kind of caliber. And that whole experience was wild because it's a small red carpet. I didn't really know what to expect. Everybody's crammed in. You're trying to get, and people are walking past you, and you're trying to get the PR people to let you talk to their client, and you're missing some because you're already talking to somebody else and they're walking into the party, so you kind of miss these opportunities. Now thank you to Lori PK Relation. I think that Lori PK Relations, Lori is Jax and Brittany's PR manager, their publicist, and she represents a lot of reality star people. And I know her now a little bit, and so she was nice enough, even though he wasn't doing a lot of like podcast interviews, she allowed me to speak to him. And so I take that kind of stuff very seriously. And when you're on that, you want to show respect, you want to show kindness, and still be able to kind of have a conversation going, because you want somebody to be able to talk to you. And this is my conversation with Jax Taylor from this past Thursday. What a full circle moment.
Okay.
With Badges. Hi, dude.
How are you?
Good. Well, here's what, sir. We are here with the one, the only, the legendary Jax Taylor. Jax, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm okay today. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
You were really brave and came out with what you're struggling with right now. You've been very brave about your journey.
Yeah.
What can we expect, and will we see that on season 2 of The Vow?
You will. Unfortunately, you're going to see a lot of a very dark struggle that I'm going through with my mental health and going through a divorce, and it's so public. It's hard. And the reason I decided to be okay with this, because I know there's other men out there, and women too, but mostly men, that are going through mental health struggles, that are going through divorces. And I feel like the reason I did this is because I know I can help somebody out there that's going through what I'm going through. And I want people, if you need help, say you need help. Go get help. And especially men. The suicide rate for men is so high, and it's because they don't want to check in. And I feel like it's so good to check in. I didn't want to do it in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then my friends and my family said, it's time. And I did it, and it was the best thing I've ever done in my life.
For real?
Yeah, it's made me such a better person. It's given me the tools to be a better person for myself, my son, and hopefully to be a really good ex-husband for Brittany.
Do you feel like people are rooting for you?
Sometimes. I feel like sometimes people are just out to get me. I kind of do it to myself, though. It's not like anybody does it. Nobody does anything to me. I self-sabotage myself. I'm kind of known for that. But you know what? it's an all learning experience, and I enjoy being on TV. I think I'm pretty good at it, and I'm just grateful that NBC and Bravo have given me the opportunity to be back on TV again.
That's what I was wondering, if you regretted going back for the Valley because it kind of blew up your life a little bit more. Did you regret it, or is it a gift?
I don't regret it, and I think that's why Vanderpump and the Valley are such good shows, because they are so authentic. I think they're the most authentic shows on TV. We're not casted show. We are what you get. We are not like, okay, we need Susie to make out with Tim. We are like, they just come in and they turn the cameras on, and that's it. And you're going to see the hardest, you're going to see some very dark, and I'm very scared. I'm very nervous about what's to come out. But you know what? Like I said, this is authentic. People want to see authenticity, and that's what you're going to get with the Valley and Vanderpump.
On your podcast, I believe you spoke about it, or in an interview, you said that Tom Sandoval is now the one that checks in on you the most.
I was very shocked about that. Like during my stay, people were checking in with me, but the one that stood out the most to me was Tom Sandoval. Him and I have been best friends for many, many years. Obviously, Scandoval was a very big thing, and we had to take a break a little bit from our friendship. He had to take a break from a lot of friendships, but I think time heals all wounds. I think we're all human. We all make mistakes, and I think, he's always going to be my best friend. Him and Tom Schwartz are my best friends, and I love them to death. And like I said, I think it's time to move on. I really do.
Are you going to ask for the sword back signed by Randy Jackson?
So funny, you're not the first person that's asked that. Yeah, I might, because he's going through a move right now, and I might just go back and take that real quick.
Well, I know you're going through a really rough time, but I hope you do remember what a big part of reality TV that you are. Like, that's a big deal, and we actually have loved you season after season. Even when we've hated you, we've loved you.
Remember that when it airs. Remember that.
So and I just want to tell you, my dad and my nephew came into town, and I took them to Jax's Saloon this past week just to get a picture, because my dad even likes watching you.
I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Like I said, I love what I do, and you're always going to get authenticity with me, whether it's good or it's bad, because like I said, I hope that I can be helping somebody out there that's going through what I'm going through.
And finally, what other reality shows would you consider being on at this
all
point?
Of them. Fucking all of them.
We get you on Traitors?
Hey, I don't, whatever. Traitors.
Survivor?
If I don't want to get dirty and bugs, and no.
Yeah.
Let's keep it very as long as there's a hotel involved or a house involved. But yeah, I'm not picky.
First celebrity crush?
My one right now?
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney. I'm a big Sydney Sweeney fan.
Who isn't?
I have a T-shirt of her. I wear it all the time.
And T-shirt.
I'm a huge Sydney Sweeney fan.
Who was the first one as a kid?
Kelly Kapowski.
Yeah.
Tiffany Amber Thiessen, right?
And then finally, I know it is probably too early to talk about this, but will you start considering dating soon, or do you want to give it time?
I'm not even thinking about dating right now. All I care about is my son and making sure that we have a healthy relationship with my son, and just being the best ex-husband I can be.
Well, it has been a pleasure to talk to you, and I can't wait to see you on season 2. I hope it goes well.
So much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, folks, it looks like I just got jaxed. I got Jax. No, I mean, I think that's one of the best things that Jax does is he can speak. I mean, we have to see him put all of these thoughts into actual actions. And, I walked away, really, truly wanting the best for him and his family. And I am just really wondering how much they show of this on the Valley season 2. But that was great. I was very happy to talk to him. Now, let's do a couple of other interviews before we get to some stories, just so you can hear some people. Now, this is the one and only Lindsay Hubbard, who also stopped and chatted with us. And let's see how the audio is on.
Lindsay Hubbard, as I live and breathe. The last time I saw you in person,
you didn't know.
Yeah, and now you are here. You are glowing. How happy are you right now?
I mean, I'm so happy. I'm happy to see you. This is my last trip until baby comes.
What was the season like shooting? Did you get through it? Was it better than you thought it could be?
I don't know what I thought. My goal was to get through the first day. Not a big goal, but get through the first day. And then I guess I was pleasantly surprised. It was a really fun summer for me. I had a great time.
So it was filled with positivity for you.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was very positive.
Now, we saw in Vanderpump Rules, they tried to get Sandoval tried to get a scene with Ariana. Are we going to get a similar scene between you and Carl, potentially?
Great question. I think that there are little moments throughout the summer that you're like, what's going to happen? And you'll just have to watch.
Will you name your baby Ryan?
I will not, but I do like that for a girl. Great girl's name.
And then what are you looking forward to tonight? Anybody that you're looking forward to meeting in terms of reality TV stars?
Taylor from Mormon Wives.
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Yeah, I'm just like obsessed with that show. I think they're all so interesting. I just like, I can't quite wrap my head around the whole thing, but she's the one who started it all with that group. So
First celebrity crush?
in life.
In life, when you were a kid, who was your first celebrity?
Oh, JTT, obviously. I mean, anyone my age, an older millennial, loved. Okay, who was your first celebrity crush? First celebrity crush. Who? I don't. JTT. Oh God. Did I get it?
What are you hoping DJ Kyle Cook spins tonight?
Something I could dance to. Me and Little Cub love to dance. So.
And finally, what has reality television taught you?
Yes, of course. How to be fearless.
Truly. Thank you, Lindsay. You're my favorite.
Oh my God.
Okay, so that was Lindsay. She was like rushing to get in there. So it was really nice that she stopped and chatted for a minute. I didn't expect to get that one. Because you got to understand at that time, like when it first started, it was just like a couple people on the carpet. And then by the end, it was just packed. And there's all of these outlets trying to like talk. You can barely hear yourself think. So it's really crazy. Okay, here is Kyle Cook from Summer House.
We have the one and only Kyle Cook. Kyle, how are you?
I am fabulous. Thank you.
Are you nervous DJing this event tonight?
I do get a little nervous. I mean, I've only been doing it for about a year. I don't do it full time, and I've never done a private party at 8:30 on a rooftop with various age ranges. So,
what can we expect from the new season of Summer House? Because last season ended with a bang. Carl, Lindsay, Amanda, everybody. What can we expect?
I think it's going to be different in all the best ways. I think we've seen on other shows where one part of the story kind of dominates and you almost can't breathe. And, this is an ensemble cast, it's an ensemble show, and people brought it, and there was a lot going on. So, I think that people are going to be pleasantly surprised that it's not a broken record. There's all sorts of, there's new romance, there's other people figuring out where they...
Yeah, how are the new guys, and are you jealous of Wes and Jesse because they can still party their balls off?
I'm still doing my best to hang right there with them, but look, they were a great addition. They kind of got through a first season that was our 8th, so it's like coming into like an established show. It's just like boom, everything kind of changes.
How proud of you are you of Amanda, who actually just announced the swimwear line, which we were talking about last season?
Look, she's always had this incredible work ethic and this creative drive. Don't quote me on this, but I guess we're being quotable here. She held down a job while filming a reality show, and I'm talking like a corporate, like international company. I think she finally left to join me, I think 4 seasons in, which is kind of remarkable. The fact that she's now, being able to like bring new things to life that give her joy and give her pleasure and check the box in terms of like something that she's excited to bring to the world. I'm very supportive. I know that's probably not how I came across.
No, but that's what I wanted to say, because this is happening now.
Look, I tend to get caught off guard. Andy's caught me off guard. Amanda caught me off guard. Sometimes I'm not thinking, clearly if we've been...
You had one of the best housewives tantrums of last season of all time.
I'm still trying not to storm off reunion stages, but...
Well, you're killing it. And finally, I'm Team Loverboy all the way, and I always have been. Will we see Spritzer Wars this season?
Nah, we squashed it. Look, ultimately, where I felt, hurt was on the friendship side. Business is business, and we kind of hashed it out and are in a good place. So.
Best song to play as an up-and-coming DJ? What's your favorite song to play right now?
Oh my God. That's a great question. I should probably figure that out. But I'm a sucker for some remixes. Like I love a little Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
Are
you in a Charlie XCX?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Brat Summer, baby.
Brat Summer. Kyle, thanks, man. I really appreciate
it. Thank you.
Hey,
Hi, how are you?
Okay, so that was Kyle. He's always super nice. And I wanted to point that out about Amanda's swimwear line and give him the opportunity to, because of last season, to say how proud of her he is. So I was glad he picked that up. Now, this is Kyle Richards. Now, she was the reality star of the year. Us Weekly put her on the cover of this special issue. And I think Kyle is the one that might have known who I was potentially a little bit, because I think she seemed pretty tentative. And I have to tell you, I did not expect her publicist to let her talk to me. Not that I'm like Howard Stern or something crazy, but there seemed to be a little bit of tentativeness. But I guess imagining for these people anyways, they don't know a lot of these people anyways, if you're relatively new to this scene. So I did not expect to be able to talk to Kyle. Somebody said, "Oh, you should have done your Morgan Wade impersonation for her." I'm like, no, you can't do that. I can't be like, "I'm Morgan." I can't do that. I can't ask about that. And I didn't want to ask questions about Kim, her sister, who is dealing with some mental health issues right now as well, because I know these are really sensitive topics. But I was able to talk about her mom really quickly as well, because I was trying to find ways to, I don't know. Anyways, you'll hear this. This is me and Kyle Richards.
Oh my God, we have the reality star of the year, Kyle Richards. You have almost been on 14 seasons of Beverly Hills. Could you have ever imagined your life thus far with reality TV?
No, I thought it was going to be like 2 months of shooting something to be done. I did not know that 14 years later I'd still be standing here.
And you're standing here strong. I was reading in the article, how many tattoos do you have right now?
10.
Are we going for 11, and what would 11 be?
I mean, probably. Right now, I just don't know. You know, it depends. If I feel like it, I'm going to do it. If something comes to me that I want, I'm going to get it.
I lost my mom last year, and I was thinking about your mom and like how, what do you think she would make of you being on reality television for 14 years? Would she be blown away?
I thought you were going to say, what would she make of the tattoos? And I was going to say she would not be happy. Yeah, she would not be happy about the tattoos. But what would she make about the reality TV? I think that she would at many times be proud and be happy to see her grandchildren, my children, and many times be sad. Maybe, the arguing between my sisters and me. But overall, I think she'd be proud.
We saw you do your final talking head on last season's final episode, and it looked like such a great relief. Are you able to have fun on this season of Beverly Hills, or is it just as intense?
I had some fun, but it was very intense for me this season, to be honest. It was a very difficult time for me, and I was being very challenged in my life, just put it that way, and I didn't feel like I had a ton of support, but actually, it kind of goes up and down for me this season. So
does Sutton say name him 20 times to you again?
No, not this season, but she does plenty of other things.
What is your proudest moment thus far in terms of reality television?
I think any of the moments with my daughters, because that's when you can really see who I really am as a person. It's hard to judge somebody by, being in this group and there's always arguments and, tension, but when I'm with my daughters, that's who I truly am, so.
You have 2 movies out right now. You did the Halloween franchise. I said, Kyle doesn't need reality television. She could just do movies or a sitcom. Would you ever consider your own sitcom at this point?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm still acting. I'm still producing television. Why am I still here? I don't know. But, I mean, listen, it's not lost on me that being a housewife and the fans of the show has opened a lot of doors for me. So I'm appreciative of that. So that's why I'm still here.
And we know you're working with Reese Witherspoon soon. Can you give us any information about that project?
I can't right now, but in time.
Well, you are an icon, a queen, a legend. Seriously, you are the top of Bravo. So congratulations.
Thank you. That's very sweet.
Thanks, Kyle.
Oh my gosh. I wish I could have done that one again. At that point, it was just, I lost my mind. I was like, I can't believe I'm talking to Kyle Richards. I can't believe I'm face to face with Kyle Richards. And you also have to remember, this is the very end of the press line. So us podcasters, who's like me, Laura from Sexy Unique Podcast, Real Moms of Bravo, and Kiki, Talk of Shame. So we were at the very end after they had spoken to all of these outlets and videos and like Page Six, Access Hollywood, Entertainment Tonight, Us Weekly, all of these things. So I imagine when it's them, it's just got to be so exhausting doing this, but also I felt myself just getting exhausted. I mean, really, you're just at such a high energy level that entire time, but it kind of excites me. Hopefully I'll get to do this again because I'm like, oh, I would do this differently or that differently. Okay. And then finally, even though I have like about 20 other interviews that I'll intersperse throughout this week, including Sister Wives cast members, Jen Tran, The Bachelorette, We have Teresa Caputo, the Long Island medium. We got a lot. We got some Love Island USA, but this will be the final one before we finally get to some news stories. My God, Ryan, this is Brittany Cartwright. Now, it started with Jax, right? So Lori, their publicist, had to walk Jax through the press line, get him upstairs, and then had to go back and start Brittany on the press line. So she was doing double duty, which I found fascinating that she represents both of them, and how insanely, like, I almost wanted to interview her of like, how do you do this job? Because there are so many feelings and emotions. Because somebody asked me in the Patreon, and I didn't get to answer them yet, of did you see Brittany and Jax interact? Not at all. Not at all. So I don't know what happened once you got up to the party, because remember, the party was in full swing as the press line was going. So a lot of people were at that party that were like reality stars that I didn't even know were up there, because they just didn't walk the press line. Like Captain Jason from Below Deck. You had more Love Island USA cast members that didn't walk the press line. You had all of these people that I didn't even, you had cast members from Love on the Spectrum that I was so bummed. I was hoping to get to talk to them and I didn't. But yeah, they walked separately. So here is me with Brittany, another interview that I did not expect to be able to do. So thank you to Lori for allowing this. Well, they're just telling me to keep it minimum because she's been through a big day thus far. Okay, here we go.
Got it.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Sorry. Hey, Brady. Sorry, Brittany. Betches Media. I have to tell you, you crushed it on season 1 of The Valley, but it was such an intense season. Yeah. Was it worth it in your eyes?
I mean, we got a season 2. So, I mean, we're just living our real lives, and what happens, you know.
We see how good of a mom you are on this show and in real life. Is that really like kind of the thing you take the most pride in?
Oh, being a mom is the most important thing in my life. He is the most important thing in my life, and I think that, like, he brings out the best in me, and he keeps me strong in everything I'm going through. So that's, like, amazing.
What did you have any trepidations about sharing so much this past season with your relationship with your ex?
Oh, gosh. It's always hard because then you're judged publicly and there's all these things that are going on. But, I mean, I'm on a reality show. I signed up to be real and honest, and that's what I'm always going to do.
How's your mom and Mama?
My mom and Mama are great. They're amazing. Thank you for asking.
No, of course. What is your proudest moment on reality television so far?
Oh, gosh, my proudest moment. I mean, I had so many good moments, but I'm in such a different place in my life now. Like, I would always say it was my wedding or, things like that. But I don't know. I think the end of last season, me sticking up for myself was pretty dang good.
I was just going to bring that up, is that scene with you and Jax in the bedroom where you kind of like really unleashed and even talked about therapy and him being too lazy potentially to do it. How hard was that for you? Because from watching you so many years, I didn't know you had that in you.
Yeah, I've definitely become a lot stronger, and I think next season people are going to see a different side of me that they aren't expecting, but I have to take up for myself. I have to put myself first now. So
yeah. And I know you probably can't comment on this, but there was so many rumors about your dating life, and the one this week, I think we all had the same reaction of good for you. Good for you.
I loved it. Sorry. I mean, all the comments were great. Thank you for the comments.
And then finally, do we have any fun this season? Is there a girl power season? Because we saw on Vanderpump, Ariana, Sheena, Lala. Does everybody rally around you and you guys have some fun?
Yes. Definitely girl power this season is happening. Like, the women are amazing. We are very strong. And I think, it is going to be a lot of stuff that everybody's going through, but we always have fun and everything as well. Are you leaving? I love you. I'm sorry. Are you sure? Okay.
Kristen Doty has to leave.
Love you.
Oh, you guys really are friends.
We came here together, so I feel bad that I didn't get to.
Okay, finally then, who first celebrity crush?
Oh, my first ever? Oh, gosh. It was probably like Tyson Beckford.
I like that that's a whisper.
First celebrity crush. Probably.
Wait, current celebrity crush.
Oh, I love Tom Hardy.
I thought you almost said Tom Sandoval. I was like, what?
No. Yeah, I love Tom Hardy, I think. I mean, there's a lot of Odell Beckham Jr. is hot.
I've taken up so much of your time. Thank you so much. We are rooting for you this season.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Woo! You guys. So that was just like a little taste. I also talked to Kristen Doty. I talked to Janet and Jason Caperna from the Valley. So I will be playing that more probably on Tuesday. But you guys, I mean, I don't know if some of you might be watching this on YouTube. I'm listening to myself back, and there is that moment where you give yourself douche chills, but also I just kind of smiling because it is like that little kid in me would be so fucking proud and just like, holy shit, you're on this, like I don't want to walk the red carpet, but man, I loved being able to do this. And like I said, it's all about getting better and learning how I can be better. And that's what this last 5 years has been about with So Bad It's Good. And I think I am potentially so bad it's good. And you guys have gone on this journey with me. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Now let's get to some news and what to watch this week before we wrap this thing up. Okay. Let's see here. What to watch this week. This is what to watch this week, just in terms of reality television. Let's go through the week now. Tonight, Monday, we have season 26 of The Voice. They're still doing blind auditions. And then over on A&E Network, we have Hoarders. Hoarders is still going on. Season 16 of Hoarders, man. I have not watched Hoarders in so long. But there was a time, I think, God, 2007 or 2008, where I was like addicted to Hoarders. And there were so many insane episodes of Hoarders. Remember when they were finding like remains from animals in certain houses, and you'd be like, holy shit. Or they'd go into a house and then you could tell the person was not ready to part with all of their shit. And it was literally just piles of shit and newspapers and empty bottles and rotten food. And they still would be like, no, don't. I was like, oh my God. I mean, that was like inspiring me of like, I need to throw things out more. That's the show that inspires you to throw things out more. And then over on TLC, we have 90 Day Fiance The Other Way, season 6 of that show. And then over on Bravo, we have the season 5 of Below Deck Sailing Yacht, episode 2. I think some people forgot that episode 1 aired last week. And Gary is still back. You got Captain Glenn, you got Daisy. So that I'm excited to meet some of the newer people on the deck, and of course the people that are throwing their little parties and stuff. So we'll get more into that in episode 2 tonight. And then over on TLC, you also have Love a Mama's Boy, season 4 of that. Then on the History Channel, if there's any Ancient Aliens fans, you have Ancient Aliens Origins, which is season 1 of that show. And then, of course, Watch What Happens Live will be on tomorrow on Bravo as well. And then on Tuesday, we have Tyler Henry, the psychic medium. He has a show on Netflix now called The Other Side with Tyler Henry. Now, this is live. They record this and air it live. So that will be on at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow or tonight. Tuesday night. And then over on Lifetime, we have the 18th season of Married at First Sight. Now, there's a lot of Married at First Sight fans out there. I have never covered this show, but it is, season 18 of anything, there is a strong fan base. So reminder, Married at First Sight, set your DVRs Tuesday. And then on ABC, you have Dancing with the Stars, season 33, episode 5. You also have that night the next episode of the blind auditions for The Voice. You have Chopped on the Food Network, season 59 of Chopped. You have Love and Hip Hop Atlanta on MTV, season 12 of Love and Hip Hop. And then you have 1,000 Pound Sisters, season 6 of that show on TLC. Now, 1,000 Pound Sisters, I feel like they need to rename this because these sisters are losing a lot of weight. But that for all the 1,000 Pound Sisters out there. And then over on Bravo, you have episode 3 of Real Housewives of New York City. Now, I finally watched this week's episode 2, and there's some things that really work with Real Housewives of New York. And it's one of those shows that I keep reminding people, the more you invest in it, the better it's going to get. And I don't want another kind of a situation like Real Housewives of Dubai where we didn't really tune in like we should have, even though it was a decent season. But you're always kind of like investing in these shows and in these relationships. So when things really pop up, when they have their own scandal, you have these relationships where it really means something to the people that are being filmed. And then that brings us more in because there's intensity. You can sense when it is real. Now, Real Housewives of New York, you had some very interesting scenes between Erin and her husband, Abe. And it turns out this Abe, which by the way, I'm not a huge fan of Bitcoin. Sorry to all the Bitcoin listeners out there. But Abe, I guess they had Bitcoin, and Abe sold some of their Bitcoin without Erin's knowledge years ago. So she went to check Bitcoin because I guess it was going up in value. And then it turns out Abe had already sold it and used it to pay off other debt that they owed on one of Erin's companies, her handbag company from years ago, I guess. But you could tell, like she said, listen, there was a chance that we might not have made it a couple months ago. It seemed like she was that angry. And you could tell this was a very real conversation where Abe seemed super uncomfortable. And I think a lot of dudes get ourselves into this situation where you think you're trying to do the right thing, but then you're having to leave out the actual truth because you think you know the right way to go about it and it's not. And then you end up getting yourself in trouble because then it kind of just snowballs, and it seemed like it snowballed for Abe. So I was kind of relieved because I thought it was going to be like a cheating revelation or something, but it was just Bitcoin. And also, just the Bitcoin of it all just made me chuckle, even though it was very serious. Now, Erin obviously having a very tough year. Her father just passed away a couple of weeks ago. And so, Erin's a very interesting character for reality television, but I can't really put my finger on why yet, if that makes sense. There is, and I'm curious to see how reality television changes her over these next couple of years. And even Jessel, I thought Jessel was going to come in way more hot because she had so much positive fan feedback from that first season. And there's always a character on these shows where the other characters think it's the easy person to pick on, think that like, oh, she's going to be the loser of the gang. And then when the audience gets a hold of it, that person usually comes off great in the audience's eyes. And you can always tell it shocks the cast. Like, I think Sai probably was like befuddled about how much we love Jessel. But I also kind of want Jessel to stand in that power a little bit more and see if it is worthy of the adulation that we have, kind of given her. Of course, Jenna Lyons is there. By the way, did you know this week Rihanna said that Jenna Lyons is her favorite Housewives character? I did a double take when I saw that interview and I was like, wait, what? Because Rihanna is one of those people that how much she loves Bravo. And she was talking about how much she loves Salt Lake. So great taste right there. Which, by the way, you guys hop on Salt Lake if you haven't. It is so bizarre in the best way. But she said Jenna Lyons. And then I was like, I need like 10 follow-up questions to why she chose Jenna Lyons. I love Jenna Lyons, but I also love Jenna Lyons because I know that she has such a storied history in her own profession. So she came in already deeply respected by so many people and kind of a little bit of a celebrity in her own right. But in terms of like favorite housewives, it kind of shocked me because, usually people will say like, oh, Karen Huger or Nene or Kyle Richards or, but Jenna, I've never heard anybody say that's their favorite yet. So I kind of wanted more of like, well, why exactly? I'm not saying she's not worthy of tons of praise, but she's like one season into a reality television show. And you could tell at times Jenna Lyons was deeply uncomfortable with sharing certain aspects and having these fights because it seems like she did not live her life this way. And we do know that she is uncomfortable to share her relationship with her partner, which I completely understand. But sometimes when you have those feelings, you don't make the best reality television star. And I can say all of these things because I know Jenna, is totally fine, even if she wasn't on reality television. I mean, I really didn't think she was going to come back for season 2. I truly did not think that was going to happen, but it was great to see her. Brynn is throwing everything against the wall. I think Brynn, especially if you put on her housewife shows, put her on a housewife show 10 years ago, we would be, building monuments to her. But I think sometimes it's interesting because some of the criticism she receives is, oh my God, she's just throwing everything against the wall and it's too much. And she's, but she's doing what housewives do. It's really interesting once us, the audience, get a hold of these things because, first off, we're never satisfied. Second off, we change our minds constantly, which is totally all right. But I feel like Bryn is out there working. And, I wish Ultimate Girls Trip was still around because I would love to see Bryn on an Ultimate Girls Trip just to see her around other housewives that have been on television shows for like a decade plus to see how she fits in. Sai, so far, we had the first argument with Sai on the first episode, which was, new characters. So we have Rebecca Minkoff, I believe is her name. And she's another person that was already kind of semi-famous before going in. Now, we had a discussion at the end of this week's episode about Scientology because Rebecca Minkoff is a Scientologist. Now, Jacques Peterson, who works for the Daily Mail, he was just on this podcast a couple of weeks ago. He is the one that they're referring to at the very end that Daily Mail was running a story about her history with Scientology. And this was before the show or even her announcement on the show. So people were just catching wind of that. So they're in this helicopter. It's Sai, Bryn, and Rebecca. And I think it's not Sai, sorry, Bryn, Jessel, and Rebecca. And Bryn says, hey, if somebody asks us about Scientology in regards to you, what do you want us to say? And Rebecca just says, oh, just say no comment or just come to me and tell me, and it kind of shuts down that conversation. And I'm sorry, that's an important conversation to have. And a lot of the other ladies in Talking Heads kind of defended Scientology to a degree, saying, oh, there's so many, different versions of religions, and a certain sect of it will always kind of have insanity involved in it. So they were kind of defending in that sense. But I also want to hear it from Rebecca's mouth. And she was just kept saying, well, it's like, it doesn't matter if me talk about it. Come find out for yourself. She's like, read a book. I've read Dianetics. It's really hard to get through the book by L. Ron Hubbard. And I've watched countless documentaries. I've read countless books on Scientology. And I think a lot of us are the same way, but I would be interested in her talking about it. I think it's an important conversation that she can't shut down. And I was saddened that she did shut it down. So who knows if that comes into play anymore this season. But we already had something where Rebecca, it came out, had told Jenna, oh, we should get into a fight just for reality TV, kind of like give them something. And it's like, no, that's not the way to approach reality TV. Let fights happen naturally. And, Bryn, I thought was very smart in bringing up the Scientology thing. And Jessel being there, her facial reaction was hysterical. She was like, oh. And I think those conversations need to happen because there is this thing where a lot of us are very confused about that religion. And so many people have gone on record to say all of the damaging things that have happened because of Scientology. So I'm still just curious about the people that are still committed to that religion. Why? And what are the good things? And a little bit more about it, because not knowledge is power, but I think there are so many people out there that don't know the first thing about Scientology. And these are the things where if you are pushing some sort of agenda, you can use it to your benefit. Like you could show the positive sides of Scientology and not just do the no comment, pick up a book. That's not what Real Housewives is about. Real Housewives is not about picking up a book. So I was kind of disappointed in that final conversation. But what are you guys thinking about it? The show so far, the new episode, like I said, comes out on Tuesday, episode 3. So we'll talk more about that. Now over on Netflix, you have the next drop of episodes on Love is Blind, episodes 10 and 11. You also have Survivor episode 5 over on CBS, and on ABC, you got The Golden Bachelorette episode 5. I mean, there is so many shows that night, because then over on Fox, you have The Masked Singer, season 12 of that. And you also have The Challenge. God, there's so much. You have The Challenge over on MTV, season 38 of The Challenge, which, by the way, CT from The Challenge and the Traders were supposed to walk that red carpet on Thursday night I was at. And I was so looking forward to talking to CT, but he didn't walk the red carpet. And I was so bummed because I wanted to meet him so badly. So Salt Lake City is also on that night, episode 5. And then on CBS, they have a new reality show called The Summit, which is a competition reality series, only on episode 3 of that. And it keeps going, you guys. They have House of Villains, season 2, episode 3 over on E. Now, the first 2 episodes are out. Teresa Giudice, Jax Taylor made an appearance in the first episode. You have You have Wes from The Challenge over on that show. You have Richard Hatch, the winner of season 1 of Survivor. You have Tiffany Pollard, New York. I mean, it's really a cast of characters, a very silly show hosted by Joel McHale. So let me know if you're enjoying that as well and if we should be talking about it. Now, that day also on ABC was going to be the first episode of Scamanda, which is a docuseries based on the insanely popular podcast called Scamanda. Now, I just got the press release on Friday that they are pushing Scamanda to 2025. So what happened, and this sucks because I talked to Charlie Webster, the creator of Scamanda, and the investigative reporter that broke these stories. I did 2 separate interviews this past week with both of these ladies, and I'm going to have to push those interviews to 2025. And they were good. I mean, I was so excited to talk to them, but we'll just have to wait a little bit longer. I guess what happened is that ABC got rights to 6 more NFL football games. So they are changing up their schedule and holding some series until 2025. Scamanda being one of them. I've only seen the first episode and I did really, really like it. And it was really shocking to see pictures of the actual Amanda from Scamanda, see actual footage of her, seeing her testimony at her church, all the while she was faking cancer. So I'm so bummed I have to wait till 2025, but I wanted you guys to know. And I talked about interviewing both of them, so I have to hold those interviews, but at least I've got a jump start on 2025 already. So that is Wednesday is just jam-packed. No wonder the Salt Lake ratings aren't nearly as good on same day viewing as I wish they were. And it's just because I would imagine there's like 8 shows that you have to pay attention to. Now, Thursday, October 17th, you have Hell's Kitchen over on Fox. You have Jersey Shore Family Vacation. It's season 7 of Family Vacation, Jersey Shore on MTV. On Fox, you have Crime Scene Kitchen. And then on Bravo, you have episode 15 of The Real Housewives of Orange County. Over on History Channel, you have Mountain Men, season 13 of Mountain Men. I didn't even know there was a show called Mountain Men. I also didn't even know there was a network called the History Channel. I'm joking. Now, Friday, you have the return of Shark Tank, baby. Season 16 of Shark Tank will be airing on ABC. I'm a huge Shark Tank fan, so I'm excited for that to be back. You have Bell Collective over on OWN. That will be airing. You have Love After Lockup, one of my personal favorite shows. Now, this show is just trash upon trash, and I mean that in the most loving possible way that I could possibly say. I love Love After Lockup. It's on the WE TV Friday nights. So good. You have Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives with Guy Fieri on the Food Network, and you have Scare Tactics. Remember the show Scare Tactics that was kind of the prank hidden camera show, and it used to be on the Sci-Fi channel, and it was hosted by the SNL dude in 30 Rock, Tracy Morgan. So the new Scare Tactics, and this is produced by Jordan Peele, who, Key and Peele, but also the amazing filmmaker. He is now producing Scare Tactics, and I can't wait to watch this. This will be the 3rd episode, but I used to love. If you haven't seen Scare Tactics, you should go back and find old episodes because some of them are so good. They get these people into situations where they believe like there's alien attacks or a monster after them, and it is so flippin' funny. So that is our week, and then we rinse and repeat. Saturday, we got a new episode of Saturday Night Live. This past week, we had Ariana Grande, and Stevie Nicks was the musical guest. I have not been able to watch it yet because it was a busy weekend, but I saw some clips, and did you guys know there was an election coming up? So they do a lot of election material, which, my God, my heart's palpitating already. And then Sunday, we have Real Housewives of Potomac. I watched the 2nd episode of this season of Potomac tonight. We'll be talking more about that on Tuesday's episode. But man, we have a big week of television. Like when anybody asks you what you're doing with your life, just put them to this episode and I'm watching a lot of TV. That is what I am doing with my life. Now, the exciting news over at Bravo is that BravoCon is finally returning. We took a year off, even they're doing the Miami Fan Fest event in November, but we've got the announcement that it is returning to Vegas in 2025. The event is going to go back to the Caesars Forum where it was last year. And they said it united 27,000 fans and more than 160 Bravo celebrities. and it will be back November 14th, 15th, and 16th. So mark your calendars. Like I said, if anybody has a hookup on rooms, reach out to me. Come on, let's do it. Bravo, if you're listening, consider me for a panel, please. I will start rehearsing now. Ticket information has not been provided yet, but you can go to bravotv.com for all information that they have thus far for BravoCon. Whoo! Are you guys going to go? Should we all go? Should I do a live show? Should that be my first live show? That's why in the 5 years of this show, that's the one thing I have not done is a live show yet. And I was hoping to do one in 2024 and just the year has flown by. And I think that it has been an emotional year, but I've got to do live shows at some point. And if I do, will you guys promise to come? Will some of you come? I mean, I just want to make sure people come, but I already have so many ideas. I've had so many ideas. So that, I guess, is the next dream for So Bad It's Good to happen. Okay, a couple other stories before we wrap this up. And we didn't even scratch the surface on things that I wanted to talk about today, but don't worry. We're going to be here with you all week long. Now, the Daily Mail has a story on their front page right now. This is interesting. Nicole Kidman pushes Salma Hayek away in ugly red carpet confrontation caught on a new clip from Balenciaga Paris's Fashion Week last month. And I've watched this clip and it really is interesting. These two ladies were in front of photographers, Nicole and Salma, and they were posing, and Miss Hayek was touching Nicole Kidman, and they were asked to pose together. And they finally have this footage, and it appears that Salma Hayek has appeared to try to get Nicole to turn her face to the cameras, trying to steer her face with an arm on her midriff, but Nicole wasn't having any of it and appears to swat her hand away. One witness claimed that Nicole told Salma firmly, "Don't touch me." The onlooker also claimed that Miss Perry had appeared embarrassed. An online watcher said, "Oh God, you could cut the tension with the knife." Wait, oh, sorry, Miss Perry. Salma, we're sitting in front of with Miss Perry. Oh, wait, sorry. There was a third person involved. Oh, it was Katy Perry. Katy Perry, of course, Katy Perry was there. Katy Perry was the third person involved in this. Wow. So, yeah. So anyways, Katy Perry appeared embarrassed. An online watcher said, "Oh God, you could cut the tension with a knife." After pushing away her hand, Nicole turned her back before swiveling again to face Salma and gesticulated, however you say that word, just gesticulated at her, including what appeared to be a hand signal for stop. She also pointed her finger. Kidman then kissed Katy Perry goodbye and walked away while appearing to share several more tense words with Hayek, who looked worried. Oh my God. So they appeared to exchange more words with Miss Kidman out of the camera shot. Hayek was seen saying, "Yes, please," advice, at which point Kidman purportedly replied, "You don't need it." And Hayek said, "I do." You got to go check out these videos, you guys. Anyways, fans were split over the incident. One said online, "Why is Nicole being so rude?" But another on Reddit said, "I get that Salma was probably trying to direct her to pose for the cameras, but some people don't like to be touched regardless of the situation. And you just got to respect that. I should have been on that red carpet, damn it, asking these questions. Salma, why is Nicole Kidman so angry at you tonight?" So I thought that was an interesting story that just broke. Daily Mail broke it weeks later. In other showbiz news, let's see here. We had a sighting for Kylie Jenner and Timothy Chalamet at a private dinner, just the two of them at a New York hotspot, but they were being very low key. I love that Timothy Chalamet is so low key with Kylie Jenner, and I can't tell if that's because he's embarrassed about it or they're truly just trying to, save, respect our privacy, which it could be either. But you always it's always like this kind of hazy shot of them eating, and Timothy Chalamet always looks like he's in all the hoodies, masked up with glasses on, completely scared. Let's see here. Oh, The Joker flopped at the US box office. I talked about this last week. A lot of bad reviews. A lot of people really seem to hate the sequel to The Joker. And this week, it had a 90% drop at the box office, which is insane. Usually, films will have a 60% drop. But this had a 90% drop. And It got dethroned as the number one film, and the new number one film is a horror film called Terrifier 3. And I've always read about these Terrifier movies or seen clips, and I've never been brave enough to watch one because they are supposed to be some of the most vile, gory films out there. But it actually took number one at the box office. And yeah, I don't know. Have you guys watched the Terrifier movies? Are you going to? Like, it really, I mean, we're in spooky season, but it almost seems too much for even me. I'm like, oh my God. I have a story about Lisa Marie Presley here, which I'll probably save for Tuesday. Um, ooh, let's see here. Well, you know what? Is that it for today? Should we wrap it up? Okay, you know what? Let's wrap it up. I'm extremely tired. You can hear it in my voice, but basically, this was just supposed to be a celebration of how far we've come over these last years and 1,000 episodes. And like I started the show, I want to end the show with thanking you for everything that you've done. Thank you to all my Patreon members. Thank you, baddies. If you want to be a baddie, join patreon.com/so bad it's good. I'm going to be posting more stuff over there tomorrow and catching up. And you know, if you're up there, wherever you are listening, go back to doing fun heaven stuff. But Mom, I miss you every day. Thank you so much for your belief in me and encouraging me always to do this podcast. And thank you. Please stay with me for the next 5 years, and let's see how far we can go. And if you do like this show and you're new to the show, this is not a great representation of this episode of the show, but consider leaving it a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Go support our friends of the show, Maritza Lopez's podcast, Love is Latino. We have Sophie Ross, who will be getting married in a few short weeks. Her new podcast, Snarkbait. Go support that. And that's it. Oh my God, I forgot to say this, you guys. If there is anybody DMing you saying that they are me, we found out tonight there are 5 different Instagram accounts that have all of a sudden popped up saying that they're that it's my private personal account, and it's all variations of, it's like, so bad it's good with Ryan Bailey, or so bad good. Anyways, they're actually messaging listeners and things, and this is wild. I put this up in my Instagram stories, but just don't fall for it. Most likely I'm already bad at DMs, so I can't imagine anybody truly believing that this is me, because I don't really reach out and DM people like this. But this is somebody sent me this screenshot of them DMing and says, "Hello, I want to use this medium to say thank you for the love and support towards everything I do. Your undying support has taken me this far, and I hope that you keep the love and support coming." I mean, it kind of does sound like me. I mean, maybe a little more even. God, whoever's writing this, reach out. I mean, I could use you on this show. I mean, this is not bad writing, but they're sending these DMs to people. But if you get one of these, make sure you report it to Instagram. I reported all of these accounts, but I know that sometimes that doesn't really do anything. So report it. There's only one official account, So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey, and there's another one called So Bad It's Good Clips that will sometimes put clips on. But that's it. That is it. Please, I just do not need. There's So Bad It's Good fake account out there scamming people. They're probably going to scam my poor fucking dad. He's probably going to be like, "Hey, it's your son," and he's going to have a full conversation and then give his credit card number or something. Okay, you guys, I hope you have the best Monday ever. I can't wait to talk to you again on Tuesday. I can't wait to get sleep tonight. And that's it. So much more to talk about, as always. Bye.